Report of the New World of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop. Get you some paraphernalia, man. Support the movement as we continue to support y'all. You know what I mean? You can get some fresh shit like this, whatever. We got different colors, shapes, and sizes to match anything in your wardrobe. So definitely check that out. You can type it directly into the URL. You can find the link in the Black Fox News Instagram bio. Now, yesterday in the United States, you had 1,400 deaths throughout the U.S. that was attributed to COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, coronavirus disease 2019, that Rona, you know what I mean? And that officially brings the Rona death toll to over 500,000. Now, keep in mind, that's a lot of people, whatever. This actually is larger than the population of freaking Miami, Florida. You know what I'm saying? So it's a big deal. Picture a whole city getting wiped out of any country, you know what I mean, especially in the U.S. or whatever, especially a densely populated one. So it's serious business. Yesterday they had actually a ceremony to honor, I guess, those who had fell to COVID-19. They had the National Cathedral in Washington D.C. ringing its bells 500 times. One time for every 1,000 people, whatever, and then Kamala Harris, the vice president, Joe Biden, the president, and their spouses, they led some ceremony or whatever, just to honor those who fall into the disease. Biden ordered all flags on federal property to be actually raised up halfway for 5 days. So all of this specialized, I guess, ceremonious actions towards this shit, but at the end of the day, motherfuckers gotta do better. And apparently they are. I mean, you got the vaccines ramping up, apparently, and the numbers are, the daily numbers are dropping. You do have in Connecticut, for example, authorities are saying that the vaccines are actually, they're changing the prioritization of who gets the vaccines to be based on age, meaning that if you are 55 and older, or if you're a teacher, then you get prioritized. But they're changing that, basically saying it's not about who's more of an essential worker or not. So you got messages like that being in place. We'll see how this all turns out. The Green War on Graduation. Report of the New World of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So yesterday you had Biden's appointee for the U.S. Attorney General position, Merrick Garland, former U.S. Attorney. Remember, Obama picked this dude to actually be the Supreme Court justice that would replace Antonin Scalia, who had died during the Obama presidency. Merrick Garland actually had a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing yesterday, basically, seeking for confirmation for the spot or whatever. And he basically talked about how he would make it his priority to prosecute the people who took part in the insurrection on January 6th at the U.S. Capitol. So, that's news. And he actually said that, because mind you, most of the, half the Senate is still Republican, whatever. So that's a big deal. But he also said that he compared it to his prosecuting of Timothy McVeigh for the Oklahoma City bombing in the 90s. Now, he also went on to say that he doesn't regret giving him the death penalty, which, Timothy McVeigh was executed in 2001, even though his views on the death penalty have changed, have altered. And he goes on to talk about how, it disturbs him how much exoneration has taken place due to DNA evidence, and how basically unjust that system is, and that how most of the exoneration that have taken place, something like half of them have been of African Americans. So, kudos to him for even having the wherewithal to be on that type of time, on that type of stage, you know what I'm saying, to be able to say that or whatever. It sounds like he know what he's talking about. And then goes on to say, Report of the New World of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So the Senate is busy, trying to actually confirm or deny these picks that Joe Biden had for these cabinet positions. You have Deb Haaland, congressmember for New Mexico, who could end up being the first Native American to actually be a cabinet pick. How fucking racist is that, by the way? But nevertheless, she's actually up for the position of being Secretary of Interior, and the Senate's Energy and Natural Resources Committee is actually having hearings for her today. Then you also have the Senate that they're having 2 days of confirmation hearings for a California Attorney General Xavier Becerra. so that he could be the secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, this is somebody that's actually shown themselves as being an advocate of the Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act, and you could say he even protected that act against Trump and the Republicans and all of that, whatever. So, and this is somebody who's also voiced their support for Medicare for all. Today, the Senate is actually voting on the confirmation of the Biden administration's pick for United Nations ambassador, U.S. ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, and for Tom Vilsack to head the Secretary of Agriculture. We'll see how this all turns out. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So, President Joe Biden is actually having his first bilateral meeting today when he's actually set up to meet with Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau. Now, or Trudeau, however you feel like pronouncing it or whatever, it's Trudeau. Now, even with this pandemic going on, they're meeting, but they're going to do it virtually, right? They're expected to talk about, vaccination programs. They're also expected to talk about Biden's decision to cancel the Keystone XL pipeline, which Trudeau actually is not feeling. Also, keep in mind that just to contextualize this is after that Canada's House of Commons actually voted unanimously 266-0 to declare that China is actually committing genocide against the Uyghur Muslims over there, with having like 1 million of these Muslims in these in these camps, basically, which you could call really concentration camps. So and it's pretty much in some real slave-like conditions or whatever. So we'll see how this all turns out, what comes from it. Keep in mind, Justin Trudeau did abstain from that decision, but that's where they at. Green War and graduation though. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So the Supreme Court has actually refused to block the release of Trump's tax returns to a grand jury that was convened by Manhattan DA Cy Vance, DA being district attorney. Now, they're investigating on whether basically among a bunch of things, like his finances or whatever, what he was doing, but more specifically, the hush money payments that was made to adult porn star Stormy Daniels back in 2016 during his presidential election run. Now, this actually, and whether the reimbursements for that payment, because it's already understood that was used with campaign finance money or whatever, but whether the reimbursement of those payments to Trump's former lawyer and his, situation handler, Michael Cohen, were actually illegally accounted for in his taxes, as a legal expense. Now, Trump called this a threat to the very foundation of our liberty. What fucking world does he live in? Green world and graduation. News reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So, Boeing has actually grounded all Boeing 777 airlines, or dozens of them rather, after this one Boeing airplane's experienced engine failure on Saturday. This is United Airlines Flight 238, where the pilots are being called heroes and all of that because they basically had to ground this plane after experiencing engine failure. When I'm saying engine, I'm talking about one of them, mayday, engine failure. We're gonna have to turn around. This flight was actually going from Denver to Hawaii, and it happened not too long after it left. So it actually had scattered parts falling all over the city of Bloomfield, or a big part of the city of Bloomfield. So luckily no one on the ground was injured. The pilots were able to ground the airplane and save all 229 passengers and 10 crew members aboard. The NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, actually says a preliminary investigation shows that the engine experienced metal fatigue. The engine is actually made by Pratt & Whitney. You know what I'm saying? Go figure, because I actually used to work there, you know what I'm saying, to the faggots let me off, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? But nevertheless, so if they're a subsidiary of the United Technologies Corporation, UTC. So if you got stock in there or whatever, you're probably going to experience a little drop, you know what I mean? But nevertheless, this is all in context of like Boeing. It still falls on Boeing because it's like there's one of their planes again, and over the past year and a half, remember those airlines, those 737 MAX planes, one in Ethiopia and one in Indonesia, had actually crashed due to like, I mean, the malfunctioning of the planes, and it killed all 346 people aboard in total. So, you know, it's looking bad on Boeing. For sure, for sure. Green Wall and Graduation. What the New World Order Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees is actually calling for help with finding these Rohingya Muslim refugees that were said to have been left stranded adrift off the coast of Bangladesh. Human rights workers are believing that they were trying to get out of Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh. Cox's Bazar is home to like one of the largest refugee camps in the world. It's like about 1 million Rohingya Muslims there. And keep in mind, and just keep this in context, over the last few years, Rohingya Muslims had actually been displaced from Burma, the neighboring country or whatever. So there's a huge population of these Burmese, I guess you could say, Muslims, Rohingya Muslims specifically or whatever, that are over there and been in these camps that have like been questioned as far as like, you know, how well they're being taken care of and all of that. But nevertheless, it's said that already 8 people have died with this boat that actually has just been left adrift without food or water. Green Wall and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report, man. Make sure you check out blackfilesnews.com/LPAY. LPAY is an acronym, stands for Let's Post About It, LPAI. And it's actually our own social media platform that we are building, because in these days of times, we cannot really trust these social media platforms. All of the censorship that is going on. I'm not talking from no right-wing perspective. I'm talking about like legitimate, you can't even talk about 9/11 these days, you know what I'm saying? The truth behind that without actually being able to, you know, without your shit possibly getting canceled, you getting the Minister Farrakhan and the Alex Jones, you know what I'm saying? So we actually creating this platform, and it's a great communication platform because you can share all types of files, documents, and you can embed videos, coding. All of this can be done to actually contribute to much needed dialogue that needs to happen between people, so we can get down to some nitty gritty truths that'll actually help us move forward as a society. Perks along the way, you know what I'm saying? I ask that y'all please sign up, you know what I mean? blackfilesnews.com/LPAY, the new social media platform. Let's post about it. Now, moving on, yeah, there's a special inquiry that actually happened in Colombia that actually showed that the Army of Armed Forces of Colombia actually had committed 6,400 extrajudicial killings between 2002 and 2008. Now, with them doing this, they actually were labeling these victims as like, you know, essentially like leftist rebels, and did so to actually boost their kill rate to make it look like they were winning the decades-long or half a century long war between the you know, the US-backed Colombian army and FARC, Fuerzas Armas de Revolucionario de Colombia, or like the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, basically, which is essentially a group that's been known to actually fight on behalf of the people, you know what I mean, and fighting against the government and them inflicting violence on the people. So they actually reached a peace deal in 2016, even though FARC has actually called out the Colombian government for not honoring that peace deal. You know what I mean? We'll see how that ends up turning out, though. But it's very interesting to know 6,400, that's a lot of bodies, you know what I mean? Green Wall and Graduation, though. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report, man. On Monday, there was actually an ambush in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Keep in mind, there's 2 different Congos, but in the Democratic Republic of Congo, there was an ambush on a United Nations humanitarian convoy, and it resulted in 3 people being killed. Among the dead were Italian ambassador to the Congo, Luca Atanasio, and a Congolese driver for the World Food Program. Now, they were going, this happened in the eastern region of the nation, near the city of Goma. Now, they were headed towards a United Nations World Food Program initiative at a school when they were basically ambushed by unidentified armed men and got robbed, essentially, and it resulted in 3 being dead, several others were injured. And keeping in mind that in Eastern Congo last year, there were over 2,000 people that were killed by brutally murdered by armed groups with 5.2 million people being displaced. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince on Sunday, you had hundreds of people taking to the streets, continuing protests that are demanding that President Jovenel Moise, and I might not be pronouncing his name right, you know what I mean? So if you Haitian, pardon me, you know what I'm saying, or French or whatever, like, but Jovenel Moise, that demanding that he step down, basically. This time, accusing him of illegally extending his term. Now, you have one of the protesters that was interviewing, speaking, or whatever. But if I'm based off what this protester said, basically the people, especially the young people of Haiti, they are the path. He's basically saying they're the pathway to liberation, and that they know that this man is backed by the Americas and United Nations, and that they have basically interest in the resources of Haiti, but they're not letting it go. They want their sovereignty back. So Jovenel Moise in the past has been accused of basically stealing from the people, you know what I mean, having taken funds that's supposed to be used for to basically keep the economy going, to uplift the nation, whatever, and pocketing that shit. Green War and graduation, though. Reporter of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Over in Israel, they actually wanted people to stay away from the beaches after there was this massive offshore oil spill that left 100 miles of tar slick all against the ocean, whatever, devastating the ocean wildlife. I mean, hurting up sea turtles. There was even this 55-foot fin whale that was actually found on shore dead. You know what I mean? So it's being called one of Israel's worst environmental disasters ever. Everybody stay woke, and this is why for a lot of people that's on the right wing that want to call out people on the left for wanting to stop pollution or stop the oil production or whatever, this shit has serious consequences, you know what I'm saying? It's not for nothing. So I understand job security is a major issue or whatever, and there needs to be a balance somewhere, or some sort of recourse for actually getting funds in the pockets of the people who work these oil refineries. But come on, man, how much pollution can we have as a country and as a nation? As a country, a nation, and as a planet. Green War and graduation, though. Reporter of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Texas, environmentalists, they are going crazy right now over these oil refineries and for the toxic pollution that they actually put in the air after the unprecedented winter storm that they actually experienced. So this actually caused the oil refineries to burn off or flare over 1/3 of 1 million pounds of toxic benzene, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide. So this was as they were trying to shut down amid the winter storm. Now this is obviously problematic, greenhouse gases and more carbons in the air, whatever. So people were worried. Also, at the same time, you have locals and governments in Texas that are actually complaining about, or noting the fact that this unregulated energy market in Texas allow prices to spike. These energy prices to spike, and you have for example the utility company, the publicly run utility in the city of Denton. They got charged $207 million just in the matter of days, and that's more than their entire annual budget. So that's what they're dealing with over there in Texas. The state that's as large as a country. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the United Nations investigators have actually found that Eric Prince, now this is a former Trump ally. This is somebody who actually founded Blackwater, the mercenary group that actually was known for committing some war crimes, and having some crazy killings out there in the Middle East while we were supposed to be searching for weapons of mass destruction and all of that. They found him guilty of violating the United Nations arms embargo on Libya. And he was guilty of this when he actually provided assistance towards the general over there that was attempting to overthrow the internationally recognized government over there. I believe it's called the Government of National Accord, backed by the United Nations. Now, this actually is the person he was assisting, General Khalifa Haftar, or former General Khalifa Haftar, was leading his own army against, I think, the Libyan Liberation Army of, I'm forgetting the name right now, pardon me, but Khalifa Haftar was trying to overthrow this government, and Eric Prince is found to have been providing them with mercenaries that had, like, you know, attack boats and aircraft, cyber warfare capabilities, and all of these things that are seen to be in violation. So right now, Eric Prince is actually, and keep in mind, Khalifa Haftar, this is a dual citizen. This is somebody who's a citizen of Libya as well as the United States. So this guy has, like, the U.S. screams of, like, United States attempts to overthrow Libya, basically, whatever. But right now, Eric Prince faces United Nations sanctions, including a travel ban and a freeze on his bank accounts and other assets as well. We will see how this turns out. Green War and Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So in Colorado, an independent investigation actually found that the Aurora police did not have the legal basis to assault or apprehend Elijah McClain. Rest in power to Elijah McClain, man. This is somebody that was actually that was actually apprehended and arrested by these officers on August 24th, 2019, and ends up dying on August 30th, 2019, after days on life support. Now, here's what happened. Well, I'll break down an independent investigation actually found that it was a violent and relentless struggle, and that he was essentially surrounded by officers, all larger than him, and you know, it involved him like crying and pleading with officers and apologizing and all of that. But they basically tackled him while he was on his way back from actually going to the convenience store to pick up an iced tea for his brother. He actually gets tackled by these officers, placed in the chokehold, and then eventually, like, injected with ketamine by a paramedic. So, you know what I mean? It's for the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So lawmakers in Virginia have actually voted to outlaw capital punishment in the state. Now, Democratic Governor Ralph Northam has actually pledged to sign the legislation. They will become the first state in the South, which is technically the South, to outlaw capital punishment. They've actually carried out, it said that they've carried out 1,400 executions since 1608, when they become the first British colony in North America. Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Yeah, you know, Editor-in-Chief, Jersey representative, man. You know, I already know what's going down. You hear that name, Editor-in-Chief. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate me some good bud. You feel me? A little puff. And you know, I gotta celebrate this. You know, shout out to Governor Phil Murphy in New Jersey, because he actually signed 3 bills yesterday on Monday, legalizing and decriminalizing marijuana. Now these bills, this legislation actually creates a regulated marijuana industry, and it addresses the disproportionate arrests that have gone towards people of color and the discrimination in dealing with marijuana. So shout out to all my niggas from the Hill. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Jersey City or whatever. Like, so shout out to all my niggas on the Hill that got weed charges or whatever, that now can get these shackles off of them. You know what I mean? These social shackles that actually keep niggas from getting some real bread and doing real business out here or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Now we got you know, it's just more freedom. And Phil Murphy even said it was long overdue. So, you know, I think he understands what the fuck going on out here in that regard. So shout out to them. Green War and Graduation.